Okay, so last week we said that Israel uses stories to answer the question, what is God like?
Prošli tjedan smo rekli da Izrael koristi priče kako bi odgovorio na to tko je Bog.
This is one of the big questions that goes into your worldview.
Ovo je jedno od velikih pitanja koje je vezano uz vaš svjetovni pogled.
Does God exist?
Postoji li Bog?
If God exists, what is he like?
Ako postoji, kakav je?
There are other questions that go into making a worldview.
Ima i drugih pitanja od kojih se sastoji svjetovni pogled ili svjetonazor, možda bolja riječ.
Questions about what does it mean to be human?
Pitanja kao što znači biti čovjek?
Do we have a purpose?
Imamo li svrhu?
Are we here for a reason?
Jesmo li ovdje s razlogom?
Or are we just kind of here by accident?
Ili smo ovdje slučajnošću?
And where are we? What is the world around us like?
I gdje smo to mi? Kakav je to svijet oko nas?
How should we understand the world and the life that we're living in the world around us?
Kako da razumijemo svijet? Kako da razumijemo život oko nas?
How should we view the use of natural resources?
Kako da gledamo korištenje prirodnih resursa?
Is the resources, are the resources of the world just here for us to exploit and to use up?
Jesu li prirodni resursi ovdje samo za to da bi ih mi koristili i potrošili?
Or is there some kind of responsibility that we have to take care of?
Ili imamo neku odgovornost prema tim prirodnim resursima da se brinemo za njih?
The Bible speaks to this.
Biblija govori o tome.
The Bible addresses those questions.
Biblija spominje i ta pitanja.
But remember, it's not just answering questions.
Ali zapamtite, nije bit samo u odgovaranju na pitanja.
It's answering questions so that you will live and think a certain way.
Nego odgovaranje na pitanja koja će vas potaknuti da živite na određen način.
Genesis 1 isn't just telling you what God is like so that you'll know what God is like.
Prvo poglavlje Postanka ne govori o Bogu i objašnjava kakav je Bog samo zato da biste vi znali kakav je Bog.
Genesis 1 is telling you what God is like so that you will believe in him and live a certain way.
Postanak prvo poglavlje govori o tome kakav je Bog da biste vjerovali u Boga i da biste živjeli po njegovim pravilima.
Genesis 1 tells you that God is good and God is orderly.
Prvo poglavlje Postanka kaže da je Bog dobar i da je Bog organiziran.
So that when your life is chaotic and unpredictable, you'll know I can still put my trust in a God who is good and orderly.
I onda kad vaš život postane kaotičan i neorganiziran, možete si reći još uvijek mogu vjerovati u Boga koji je organiziran.
Now, like I said, all of these questions are part of your worldview, the way that you look at the world, the way that you interpret things in the world.
Sva ta pitanja su način na koji ćete postaviti vaš način razmišljanja prema svijetu, vaš svjetonazor.
Most of us, well, all of us have a worldview.
Svi mi imamo naš svjetonazor.
Most of us never think about what our worldview is.
Većina nas ne razmišlja o tome.
Where do you get your worldview?
Odakle dobivate svoje svjetonazore?
Well, I think we get our worldview from our parents, from our family.
Dobivamo ga od naših roditelja, od naše obitelji.
From our friends as we are growing up.
Od naših prijatelja kako odrastamo.
Most of the parts of our worldview seem to be formed when we're very young.
Većina naših svjetonazora oblikovana je još dok smo vrlo mladi.
But then another thing that affects our worldview is when we go through some kind of catastrophic, huge, significant event.
A druga stvar koja utječe na naš svjetonazor je kada prođemo kroz neke velike katastrofične događaje.
My grandparents in America went through the Great Depression.
Moji djed i baka u Americi su prošli kroz veliku depresiju.
When there was no food and there was no rain and the food wasn't growing.
Kad nije bilo hrane i nije bilo kiše i hrana nije rasla.
And there were no jobs and everybody was afraid they were going to starve.
Nije bilo poslova i svi su se bojali da će umrijeti od gladi.
And until my grandparents died, they didn't trust banks.
I sve dok nisu umrli, moj baka i djed više nisu vjerovali bankama.
Because of their experiences during the Great Depression.
Zbog njihovog iskustva sa velikom depresijom, jednostavno banke više nisu bile neko kome vjeruju.
Croatia has had events in the recent past.
Hrvatska je nedavno imala događaje.
The war of the 1990s.
Rat u 1990-ima.
That's an incredibly significant event.
To je vrlo bitan događaj.
And it shaped the way that people who went through it experienced the world.
I oblikovala je mnoge ljude koji su prošli kroz taj rat.
But we don't usually think about how that affects us.
Ali ne razmišljamo često o tome kako ti neki događaji utječu na naš svjetonazor.
We tend to respond with our hearts and our emotions
Često reagiramo našim srcima, našim osjećajima,
rather than with our brains on things like
a
this.
ne umom, ne razmišljanjem.
Stories teach and reinforce worldviews.
Priče uče i učvršćuju svjetonazore.
Why does Israel tell these stories about the Exodus over and over again?
Zašto Izrael stalno i iznova priča priču o izlasku?
Well, it reminds them of who they are and who God is and how they go together.
Jer i kroz tu priču izlaska podsjećaju se tko su oni, tko je Bog, kako su izašli, tko im je pomogao.
In the Bible, in its story of God,
U Bibliji, u priči o Bogu,
it's trying to communicate a certain way of looking at the world to you.
Pokušavaju iskomunicirati njihov svjetonazor vama.
And what it wants is it wants you to believe its way of looking at the world.
I Biblija želi da vjerujete u način na koji ona gleda na svijet.
And to trust that the Bible's way of looking at the world is best.
I da vjerujete u to da je Biblija ispravan svjetonazor.
So that you reject other ways of looking at the
Kako
world.
biste mogli odbaciti druge svjetonazore.
So that last point, faith is believing that the Bible's story and worldview are true.
Dakle, zadnja točka je vjerovanje u vjerodostojnost priče i svjetonazora u Bibliji.
That means that the world's stories and worldviews are false, so you reject them.
To znači da su svjetovne priče neistinite i da ih trebate odbaciti.
Can you think of an example of a false worldview? Or a worldview that would be
Možete li se prisjetiti nekog svjetovnog svjetonazora koji je lažan, za koji znate da je lažan?
yeah.
Evolution.
Evolution, at least evolution that has no God in it, controlling it.
Evolucija, barem evolucija koja nema prisustvo Boga koji tu evoluciju kontrolira.
Evolution is very much a worldview.
Evolucija je svakako svjetovni pogled.
And evolution that doesn't have God involved tells you that you just got here by accident.
I evolucija koja ne uključuje Boga pokušava vam objasniti kako ste vi ovdje slučajnošću.
And our world just got here by accident.
Naš cijeli svijet je stvoren slučajno.
It's all one big happy accident.
To je sve jedna velika sretna nesreća.
So there's no purpose beyond having more happy accidents.
I šta je onda naša svrha osim da mi živimo naš život u tim sretnim nesrećama?
Now, evolution that doesn't have God involved in it is a false worldview.
Dakle, evolucija koja nema Boga u sebi je pogrešan svjetovni pogled ili lažan.
What about materialism?
Šta je sa materializmom?
The worldview that says the point of life is to make as much money and have as much stuff as you can.
Pogled na svijet koji kaže poanta života je steknuti što veće bogatstvo i nagomilati što više za sebe.
That's a different way of looking at the world.
To je različit pogled od biblijskog.
And it also is against what the Bible teaches.
I on je protivan onome što Biblija poučava.
So these are examples.
To su neki primjeri.
Remember the Enuma Elish, the story of the Babylonian creation story?
Sjećate se babilonske priče o stvaranju od prošlog tjedna Enuma Elish?
How in that story the world is created in a war between these two gods.
Kako je u toj priči svijet stvoren u bitci između dva boga.
And so the world that we live in is just here by accident.
I na taj način je nastao svijet, dakle, jednom slučajnošću.
In that story, do human beings matter at all?
Da li u toj priči ljudi imaju ikakvo značenje? Da li su oni bitni?
We're just an afterthought.
Mi smo samo nusproizvod.
And there's no purpose for our being here.
Nema svrhe našeg postojanja.
And you see this then acted out in how the Babylonians treated each other and treated the countries around them.
I taj njihov svjetonazor se vrlo dobro očitovao u načinu na koji su Babilonci živjeli i na koji su tretirali narode oko sebe.
What do we know about the Babylonians?
Što znamo o Babiloncima?
They were fierce and warlike.
Bili su ratoborni, bili su neustrašivi,
They were like their gods.
bili su kao njihovi bogovi.
Israel is supposed to be like its God.
Izrael bi trebao biti poput svog Boga.
We are supposed to be like our God.
Mi bi trebali biti poput našeg Boga.
After class last week, I'm sorry, Yvonne is not here today.
Žao mi je što Ivan nije ovdje danas.
Do you have the expression in Croatian, his ears are burning, because we're talking about him?
We say he has hiccups.
He has hiccups,
Da.
okay.
Vjerojatno se Ivan uštuca.
I'll have to tell Yvonne.
Morat ću mu reći
that I
kasnije da
talked
sam
about.
odgovorio na njegovo pitanje od prošlog tjedna.
After class, Yvonne and I were talking about the stories.
Kad smo Ivan i ja pričali o tim pričama nakon crkve prošli tjedan,
And Yvonne has read some of these ancient Babylonian stories.
a Ivan je pročitao neke od tih drevnih babilonskih priča.
And he was telling me that in some of their prayers, the Babylonians described their gods as merciful.
I u nekim molitvama su Babilonci opisivali svoje bogove kao milostive,
Which is really interesting.
što je zanimljivo.
But I want to remind you that not everybody who uses the word merciful let me say this differently. I want to remind you that people can use the same word but make it mean different things.
Ali morate znati i želim da budete svjesni toga da ljudi mogu koristiti istu riječ, a da iza toga stoji potpuno drugačije značenje.
When you look at what the Babylonians meant by the word merciful, they meant he blesses their king.
Kada gledate povijesno što su Babilonci značili da znači milostiv, milostiv znači da je blagoslovio njihovog kralja.
They don't mean what the Israelites mean by merciful.
Ta riječ ne znači na isti način milostiv kao što to opisuju Židovi.
One of the things that's been interesting to me as I've read about Islam over the past 10 years
U proteklih 10 godina sam čitao o islamu i to mi je bilo zanimljivo.
is that the most violent groups in Islam
Najratobornije, najokrutnije grupe u islamu
still use scriptures from the Quran that say that Allah is merciful.
još uvijek koriste riječi iz Kurana koje kažu Allah je milostiv.
Somehow Allah being merciful means we can still cut your head off.
Na neki način u njihovim glavama Allah je milostiv znači da ti smijemo odrezati glavu.
My point is that just by using the word merciful doesn't mean they mean what the Bible means by merciful.
Poanta je ako samo koristimo riječ milostiv, to ne znači ništa ako iza toga ne stoji neko značenje.
What Israel means when Israel says that their God is merciful
Kada Izraelci kažu da je njihov Bog milostiv,
is shown in the stories.
to se vidi u njihovim pričama.
When God takes care of people who can't take care of themselves.
Kada se Bog brine za ljude koji se ne mogu brinuti sami za sebe.
When God provides for people who don't deserve it, who haven't earned it.
Kad se Bog brine za ljude koji to nisu zaslužili.
When God doesn't just want to bless the people who offer sacrifices to him, he wants to bless everybody.
Kada želi ne samo blagosloviti one koji njemu daju žrtvu, nego želi blagosloviti sve.
And any reading of Babylonian religion will tell you that's not what the Babylonians meant.
Bilo kakvo čitanje bilo koje babilonske literature će vam vrlo jasno dati do znanja da to nije u njihovoj.
This is a really beautiful passage from the Psalms.
Ovo je predivan isječak iz psalama,
where the psalmist is talking about Israel's God, Yahweh,
gdje psalmista govori o Jahvi, o izraelskom Bogu.
and who God chooses to bless.
I onoga koga Bog odlučuje blagosloviti.
Now, most of the religions of the world work on the principle of karma, something like that.
Većina religija svijeta funkcionira na principu nekakve karme ili nečeg sličnog.
Where if you do something good, the gods are supposed to bless you.
Gdje ako radiš nešto dobro, onda će te bogovi blagosloviti.
And if you do something bad, the gods are supposed to punish you.
A ako radiš nešto loše, onda će te bogovi kazniti.
And if your life isn't good, it's because you did something bad.
I ako ti život nije dobar, to je zbog toga što si učinio nešto loše.
If you're not experiencing blessings and riches,
Ako nisi okupan blagoslovom i bogatstvom,
the gods are mad at you.
onda su bogovi ljuti na tebe.
That's karma.
To je karma.
And that's the way most of the religions of the world work.
I većina religija na svijetu funkcionira na taj način.
But over and over again in the Bible, what does Yahweh do?
Ali šta Bog radi u Bibliji? Ponovo i ponovo.
God blesses people who don't deserve to be blessed.
Blagoslivlja ljude koji nisu zaslužili.
God may punish people, but he still blesses them. He still tries to save them.
Bog će možda i kazniti ljude, ali ih i u tom kažnjavanju pokušava odgojiti, pokušava ih spasiti.
And so you have this beautiful statement from Psalm 113.
I onda imamo ovu izjavu u Psalmu 113.
He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap.
Podiže iz prašine uboga, iz gliba vadi siromaha.
Ash heap is the garbage pile.
Dakle, ta prašina je smetlište.
These are the homeless people who are so poor that they live in the garbage
To
pile.
su beskućnici koji žive na gradskim smetlištima.
He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with the princes of his people.
Da ga posadi s prvacima svoga naroda.
That's mercy.
To je milost.
That's Yahweh.
To je Jahve.
That's Israel's God. That's our God.
To je Izraelov Bog. To je naš Bog.
Your worldview is going to affect the way that you live.
Vaš svjetonazor će utjecati na način na koji živite.
And if you believe the Bible's story, God's story in the Bible as the Bible presents it,
I ako vjerujete u biblijsku priču, ako vjerujete u priču o Bogu kako ju Biblija prezentira,
then your life will be better,
vaši životi će biti bolji
and God will bless the people around you through you.
i Bog će blagosloviti ljude oko vas, kroz vas.
That's why the story is important.
Zato je priča bitna.
Okay, these are the big worldview questions.
Ovo su važna pitanja svjetonazora.
There are more depending on who you read. There are all kinds of books about worldview.
Ima ih mnogih, ima raznih, ima stotine i stotine knjiga napisanih o svjetonazorima.
But these are the ones that I want to answer as we go through these studies on Sunday morning.
Ali evo, ovo su neka pitanja koja bi ja volio da mi odgovorimo na njih dok prolazimo kroz ove lekcije.
And I think that these questions together
I mislim da ta pitanja zajedno
make up a pretty consistently Christian way of looking at the world.
Da ako odgovorimo točno na ta pitanja, da ona zaokružuju jedan kršćanski pogled na svijet.
If we build our answers to them on the Bible.
Ako naše odgovore na ova pitanja izgradimo na Bibliji.
So the first question, we've dealt with that last week.
Razgovarali smo o ovome i prošli tjedan.
That doesn't mean we won't see more things about what God is like.
To ne znači da nećemo proširiti našu definiciju koju smo dobili prošli tjedan.
The second and third questions are what I want to deal with today.
Htio bi se danas pozbaviti sa drugim i trećim pitanjem.
Tino, would you read Genesis chapter 2? I hope everybody brought your Bibles. Genesis
Jeste
chapter
li
2.
donijeli Biblije? Čitamo drugo poglavlje Postanka.
And read all the way except for the last verse. Leave the last verse off, but read
Čitat ću
everything
cijelo
else.
drugo poglavlje